Welcome back. So in this video I'm going to be explaining these two exercises. The first one says write a program that repeatedly reads numbers until the user enters AND. Once AND has been entered, shows on the screen the total, the number of numbers, and the average of those numbers. If the user enters anything other than a number, detect it as a failure using try and accept. Displays a message error and goes to the next number. So I'm going to be explaining line by line how this code works. So the first part it says this initialize two variables, total to keep track of sum of all numbers enter, and count to keep track of the number of valid numbers enter. So total and count, as you can see, it will enter 0 and 0. So then this starts an infinite loop, meaning it will keep running until explicitly told to stop, and this is while true. So after that, if the user enters within the loop, it prompts the user to input number. The input is stored to the variable entry. As you can see, entry equals to input, enter number. So if the user enters the string AND, the loop breaks, meaning it will exit the loop and continue to the next block of code. So this is a keyword of this program. If I write AND in any part of the run, it will break the code and it will stop. It will finish this program. So, after that, um, if the input is not AND, it attempts to convert the input to a floating point number and store it to a variable num. If I type 20, it will convert it to a float and it will set 20.0. Well, if the input is not if adds the input number to the total sum and increments the count by 1, indicating the valid number has been entered. So as you can see here in the line 19 and 20. After that, if the conversion to a floating point number fails, if the user enters a non-numeric value, it catches the value error exception and prints invalid entry. Then it moves to the next iteration of the loop. So it says exception, value error, print invalid entries. So if I type something that is not a number, like red, for example, it will print this line that it says invalid entry. And it will jump to the first part of the try and it will say again, enter a number. So if then again I write something like something that is not a number, like blue, it will jump again to ask the user to enter a number. So if I don't enter a number and I finish the program with the end, it will say no numbers were entered, as you can see. So I'm gonna be explaining this part now. After the loop finish, either because the user enters an AND or the program detects an error, it catches if and any valid number were entered, like count equals 0. If not, it prints no numbers were entered. If there were valid numbers, it prints the total count and the average total count of the numbers entered, as you can see in this block of code. I'm gonna run the program and check out the three scenarios of this program. So basically, this is the first scenario. I'm gonna enter three numbers and I will finish it. As you can see, this is a summatory 60.0 because it's a floating number. Then the total of numbers, that is 3, and the average, that is 20.0 because a floating number. Remember. Now I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna do the second scenario where I type something that is not a number, red, and then I type numbers and I finish. So as you can see, it will be working perfectly and it will ignore that I enter something that is not a number, as you can see. Then I'm gonna be running again and I will be doing the third scenario where I don't type anything that is not a number and I will finish it. As you can see, no numbers were entered, and it will ask for the second exercise that I haven't explained yet. So, well, the second exercise says, exercise 2, write another program that asks for the list of numbers like the previous one, and at the end show on the screen the maximum and minimum of the numbers instead of the average. So it's very similar to the first one. As you can see, the code is very similar. The first part is the initialize an empty list number of numbers which will be used to store the numbers entered by the user. As you can see, numbers. Then this while true starts an infinite loop, as you can see. So then within the loop, it prompts the user to input a number. The input is stored to variable entry, as you can see. Entry equals to input, enter a number. After that, if the user enters a string and the loop breaks, meaning it will exit the loop and continue to the next block of code. So basically it will finish this program, as you can see. This is the exact keyword that we use in the previous program, as you can see. Then, if the input is not AND, it attempts to convert the input to a floating point number and appends on the number list. If the conversion fails due to the value error, if the user enters a non-numeric value, it catches an exception and prints invalid entry. So if I enter something that is not a number, like blue, for example, and I type AND after that, it will print no numbers were entered, as you can see. So I haven't explained this part, but is similar to the first one. After the loop finishes, either because the user enters AND or the program detects an error, it checks the number list if it's not empty. If not empty, it calculates the maximum and minimum values using the max and min functions respectively on the number list, and then prints those values. If the list is empty, it prints no numbers were entered, as I previously explained. Now I'm gonna run the program. First I'm gonna enter the first one, so you don't get confused. Now this has 3 scenarios as the first one, so I'm gonna be doing the first scenario. Enter a number, 10, 20, and 30. And I'm gonna finish the program. Maximum 30, minimum 10, and finishes. Now I'm gonna be explaining the second scenario. The second one, I'm gonna write something that is not a number, like blue, and I'm gonna write a number. I'm gonna finish the program. So then again, it will display the maximum and the minimum, and it will ignore that I don't enter a number in the first part, saying invalid entry, as you can see. Now I'm gonna explain the third scenario. Sorry, I'm gonna finish this. I get confused. I will write red, for example, and I will end the program. As you can see, no numbers were entered, and it finishes, like so. I hope you learned something about these codes, and see you in the next one.